Hey guys, Mick here from Fitness First. I'm joined by the lovely Amy. She's one of our group fitness managers and instructors, and she's going to be taking you through today's workout. Today's workout is for pretty much all levels. If you need to make it that little bit more challenging or difficult, adding volume is always a good idea. So what does that mean? Just add an extra set. We're going to be doing 3 sets of pretty much all these exercises with 6 reps. If you need a little bit more, just feel free to add another set. Press pause on the video and away you go. But we better get into it, right? We're limited on time here. So, Amy, I'm just going to get you to drop into your deep squat position and then walk forward into what's called an inchworm, and then drop your right foot just outside the right hand into what we call a spiderman lunge. Yeah, really nice. Let's change sides. So we're going to do 6 of these each side. This is the warm-up, so we're not going to be doing 3 sets of this. We want to get through this fairly quickly. Beautiful. We drop back down into that deep one. And guys, when you bring that foot forward, I'm just going to ask you to exhale in that position as well and drop the hips a little bit. Let's take that foot back, other side. And if you can, even just lift the chest up forward as well. Beautiful. Let's take that foot back, Amy, as well, and we walk back. So again, we're just going to try to get 6 reps out here. We don't want to spend hours warming up. However, a lot of us are stuck in front of TVs and computer screens at the moment, being stuck at home, so we're mindful of that as well. So again, as that foot drops forward, we just try to get a nice exhale in and drop the hips down a little bit, and then also lift the chest forward. Amy's just got a couple more reps there, and then we'll get into the body of the workout. Guys, feel free to pop your iPad or your phone up somewhere and follow the workout in that fashion, just like I am here as well. A lot of the movements we do will be single-sided, just to make it that little bit more intense as well. And the first one we're going to do with Amy just in a moment when she finishes this warm-up. It's a variation of a single leg squat. Beautiful, Amy. So we're going to get you on your right leg. That's going to be your working leg. And you're going to basically kickstand out your left leg. And you're going to descend down as far as your capability will allow you and come back up. Beautiful. And we'll keep working through that. Excellent. So guys, if your capability and your range of motion allows it, feel free to drop into a deeper position. But if not, this is fine as well. So we're going to be working through about 6 reps here, and then of course we're going to change sides and repeat the movement as well. So loading up predominantly in the back part of the foot, and if we can, we're going to drop nice and deep. Guys, some of you, the stability might be a problem as well. So if you need something for support, maybe go close to a wall or use a piece of furniture. That's always a good idea as well. We're going to pair this movement with another one. So when Amy finishes her 6 reps here, we're going to go to our second exercise. Amy, just drop down into your push-up position for us, please. Beautiful. We're going to go a little bit wider with the feet just to help the base of support. We're going to open up with that right hand. Beautiful, into rotation. And then we're going to reach that right hand over the head, bring it back up, and we're going to place it back down. And we're going to repeat on the other side. So for this one, guys, we're only going to do 6 in total, so that'll be 3 each side. But you'll see the theme for this workout is generally focused on 6 reps of some of these movements. Beautiful. And we want to keep breathing. We don't want to hold our breath through any of these exercises. Once again, your own capability will dictate how far you go with some of these movements. The one thing we want to be mindful of is just the positioning of the hips. So as you fatigue, you might drop the hips. So we're going to get Amy just to push your hips up a little bit. Beautiful. And back down for the last rep. Excellent. We're jumping back up, so we're supersetting these 2 movements. So we're back to our single leg exercise, using that non-working leg as a bit of a support. For some of you out there who are super capable and want to really take this movement that extra level, feel free to go into what you might know as a pistol squat, which is a really nice deep position. But for most of us, and if you're a little bit less experienced with this exercise, just working through this short range of motion is fine. And you'll really start to feel this fire up the front part of your leg, those quadriceps. So remember, we're going to do 3 sets of these paired movements. Amy's doing a really good job here as well. Awesome. Once we finish that, we're back to our second paired movement, which is that prone position adding the rotation and the reach overhead. Yeah, really nice. And again, the only thing that people sort of do with this one if they start to fatigue is they just drop their hips a little bit. So just be mindful of that hip position. Guys, if you've got some little weights at home, or if you happen to have something that could actually load this movement, you don't need a lot, but feel free to use those as well. But of course, we're trying to focus on the workout here with very minimal equipment. So once she's finished her 6 reps, you don't have to burpee up like Amy does. Feel free if you wish. And we've got our last set of the single leg. And the more load you put into that non-working leg, so in Amy's right leg here, the easier this becomes. So if you want to make it a little bit harder again, feel free to just take that, take less load through that non-working leg. Again, if you've got some load, or if you've got a plate or a dumbbell or a kettlebell and you want to load this exercise, you do have that option as well. So there's a couple of different ways we can make this exercise a little bit more difficult. And this is one of the ways you make any exercise that little bit more challenging, is we reduce the base of support. So of course a 2-legged squat with no weight is pretty comfortable for most people. As soon as we go into a 1-legged squat, we've got no load, but that base of support is now smaller. We can make this exercise just that little bit more challenging. Cool. And this is Amy's last set here. And then we're going to go to two new exercises. So we've got two new movements for our second pairing. Beautiful. Really nice. So our second pairing of exercises for this workout, well the first movement we're going to do is a hip extension movement. So a movement that's become super popular of late, or bridge for those yogis on the video. But the bilateral or the 2-legged version is pretty straightforward. So just to sort of mix that up a little bit, we're going to create a little bit less stability and go into a 1-legged version. And we're going to do 6 reps on each side. So Amy's already driving into a really nice full hip extension, loading up through the sort of mid part of that left foot and keeping the other leg extended and just out of the way. We're going to do 6 reps on each side like we've been doing in our earlier movements. And there's a couple of different schools of thought in terms of your hand position, but we'll talk about that maybe in the next set. Because Amy right now is providing a little bit of support with those palms down, which is fine. But we'll show a different variation in a moment. Of course, if you've got a bench or a chair, you can use that as well. So our second movement is up actually standing, so both feet. But we're going to do a single leg version of like a Romanian deadlift with a cross body reach, just to provide that little bit of extra challenge. So Amy can either kickstand her back leg for some support and start into the movement, so reaching across her body, really loading up and firing up that left glute. Or if she wants to make this a little bit more intense, she can try to take that back leg off the ground. But for some people, this is a fine position to start with. So a hip hinge pattern, once again, we're on a single leg, just making this movement a little bit more challenging, particularly because we don't have a lot of load available generally. 6 reps each side like we've been working on our other movements. Again, if you're near a wall or a piece of furniture, or if you're near the fence outside and you want to try to take that back leg off the ground, you can use that for support as needed as well. So you just sort of touch the wall as you need it, take the hand off and go into the movement. Oh, no dramas. So we're into our second set here, 6 repetitions each side. So we spoke about the hand position. So you see there, Amy's rotated the palms up. Now, the really nice thing about that palms up position is we all tend to spend a lot of time in this position, over a keyboard, in a car, or seated at a couch or something like that. So it's a really nice opportunity just to open up the chest area. So we rotate those palms out and the thumbs go out to the side. And we might even show a slightly different variation for our last set, But for most people, this is a really good option to complete the hip extension movement. And you can see Amy's getting really good extension there, almost a straight line from shoulder, hip and knee. It's a really nice position. So our second set here, somewhat of a variation of a single leg Romanian deadlift. And she's reaching across that standing foot. And if you do this one right, you're really going to fire up the glute on that working leg. So it looks pretty simple and straightforward, but it's a really challenging exercise. Again, if you've got some small, like a plate or a small dumbbell, you can load up this one as well. And it's a really nice movement. The other cool thing about single leg, you tend to find that you'll get some aerobic benefit from the workout as well. The heart rate will elevate, the breathing will get a little bit heavy, so the workout becomes a little bit taxing aerobically as well, which is quite nice. So this is our second set here, and in a moment we'll go back into our last set of the hip extension movement. So just for some variety again, what I'm going to get Amy to do is to cross her arms across her chest. So I've just made the exercise now even more unstable. So it's a little bit more challenging, a little bit more of a difficult variation. So if you're comfortable with the hands out and you like to stick to that variation, that's fine. But to, once again, decrease the support base we have for this movement, we can take the arms off the ground. And you'll find it's a little bit more challenging. Another way you can make this a little bit more challenging, depending on what you've got available at home, if you've got like a Bosu or some people will have the sort of soft like discs that you can put your foot on, creates that unstable surface and makes the hip extension just that little bit more challenging as well. A heap of variations for this exercise. And our last movement, our last set here is once again that cross body with reach. And because we're not really loaded up, whenever we do hip-based movements, we're always very conscious of the lumbar spine and the position of the spine. We don't really have any load here, so feel free to round out and not be too concerned about the position of the spine. We're not going to do a lot of damage with just pure body weight, or we shouldn't, that's for sure. So it's our last set here. We've done 6 reps on each side, and this is our third set, and we're trying to stick to that theme just to make things a little bit easy for everyone at home. Our next 2 exercises, once again, some single leg work just to make it that little bit more challenging, and one of my personal favourite exercises. We're going to have Amy just face the camera there, and we're going to go into a lateral lunge. So the lateral lunge is where we step out. We're actually going to step into the movement, Amy, so let's bring the feet together. Beautiful. And we'll step out to the right, and she's going to drop down into that movement. Now, Amy's showing off a little bit here because she has really great range of motion, so we'll get her to go back into that bilateral. Good. Let's stand over onto the left, and we drop into it, and we come back. We're going to do 6 reps each side. So please don't be disheartened if you can't get this deep into the movement. Jokes aside, Amy does have really good range of motion. You can see how deep she can get into this pattern. Personally, I'm nowhere near this, but she's got great range of motion there, so we can get nice and deep. So 6 reps each side, lateral lunge. Once again, if you feel like loading this up with something, whatever you've got at home, whether it's an actual implement or a training tool, or who knows, maybe a pot plant, whatever you feel like. And our next movement is, it's a 4-point exercise. So that means we're going to get down onto our hands and our knees. So the wrists will sit underneath the shoulder and the knees are going to sit underneath the hips. We're just going to take the knees off the ground. So that's a 4-point position. So we'll get Amy to relax there. So just to make this exercise a little bit more difficult, we're going to remove parts of Amy's body from the ground to provide a level of instability. But her goal is to keep her back and her hips in that same position. So if we extend the right hand up, Amy, yeah, really nice. Let's take that one back down. And let's extend the left hand. Beautiful. So look, Amy, guys, is clearly a very physical specimen here, but even just this little movement can be super challenging. So let's go again on that right. So we'll just stick to the hands for this first set. Beautiful. And we'll just do 6, so we'll do 3 each side. And she's working really hard to maintain that position. And she's super well trained. So this might be all some people need. And that's our 6 reps there, and we'll relax, and we're going to go back to the lateral lunge. So once again, beautiful position there with Amy. One thing to maybe be conscious of is the knee of that working leg, just tracking in line with the toe if you can. And we change sides. Beautiful. So we will go 6 reps each side here. So this is a little bit of a longer set, this one here. Added benefit that I like to talk about in this movement as well, the trailing foot, if you can keep that planted, you get this nice added benefit of just the range of motion you're going through in that trailing foot, and having it planted there, you get a really nice opening in that ankle joint. So what we're going to do now, let's change it up just a little bit. We'll go 6 reps, but this time we're going to take the feet and extend the leg out. Beautiful. We come back in. Excellent. We'll go the other side. Once again, wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. Amy's in a beautiful position there. You'll generally find the feet or the leg movement is just that little bit easier. I think Amy's giving us a little nod there as well. So this is our second set here. We're going to take it up just a notch for that last set, and we'll see how we go. Last set here into the lateral lunges. You'll really find this opens up that trailing leg. You'll get this nice stretch in the groin area, the adductor area there as well. So a really nice movement for most people. The other good thing about this exercise is it takes us into a different plane of movement. Traditionally in the gym, we tend to work in what's called the sagittal plane, so back and forth. But using this movement, we go into what's called the frontal plane, so side-to-side movement, which a lot of people sort of miss out on their training. So our last one here, let's see if we can amp this up a little bit. So we're going to try to combine those two, and we'll see how Amy can go. So we're going to go right hand, left leg, beautiful position. And we go the other side. Wow, guys, I don't think you appreciate how difficult this movement is. And Amy's working super hard here, but she's doing a great job. So just 3 each side, 6 in total here, guys. Okay. So we've got through the body of the workout, and we're just going to wind things down a little bit here. Really important. This particular movement is a really good one for those positions that a lot of us are finding ourselves in, again, seated, maybe at a lounge or on your computer at home. Maybe it's a funky workstation that you're not used to. So we're going to get Amy to sit down on the floor. We'll see how we go with this. There's a few different variations we can do. Can you cross your legs, Amy? Yeah, we'll just get you to cross your legs. Beautiful. So we're going to pop the hands just behind the head. And we're going to do that lightly, so we're not going to be creating any tension or doing anything crazy back there. And what I'm going to get Amy to do is just to rotate her body towards me. When she feels her end range, I'm going to get her to tilt her right elbow down a little bit. Beautiful. Go back up to center, and then can she rotate that a little bit more? You'll find you'll always get a little bit extra range of motion. We go down, we come back up, and we're going to go one more. We're going to do 3 each side. Tilt down and go back. Let's go to center. Let's try the other side. Now, I want to make sure, I think Amy just grabbed a nice deep breath there. There's a really nice moment of exhalation when you're doing that tilting pattern. Lifting up through the chest. Beautiful. So we just get Amy to relax there, have a breather. We're going to do one more set though. So a really nice way to open up this area of the body, and where a lot of people do get jammed up is what we call the thoracic spine. So a really nice thoracic opener. So one more set, and we're going to call it a day here, guys. Beautiful. And we exhale as we go down. And yeah, and you can see, when you do this one, you'll see you can get that extra range of motion as you go into that tilt, and you come back up and you just go that little bit further. Beautiful. So guys, that's the end of today's workout. Hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to share your experiences and your feedback. If you've got any questions, please drop those in as well. And looking forward to our next session.